My neighbor kept parking in my assigned spot, laughing. What are you going to do about it? I had his car towed 3 times. When he finally confronted me, I handed him the parking violation photos I'd been collecting. I'm Alex, 32 years old, male. And I swear, if I hear my neighbor Tyler laugh that smug little laugh one more time, I might actually lose it. Tyler's 36, recently divorced, and moved into the apartment next to mine about 6 months ago. The guy has this vibe, like a frat bro who never grew up, still wearing backward caps and calling everyone bro while blasting music at 1 a.m. His divorce left him bitter, and unfortunately, the rest of us in this building became his new punching bag. From the beginning, he rubbed me the wrong way. First week he was here, he introduced himself not with a handshake or a nice to meet you, but with, yeah, I'll probably be using your parking spot sometimes, man. Hope that's cool. It wasn't cool. At our complex, each unit has one assigned spot, and mine is literally right in front of my apartment. I paid extra for it. Tyler's spot is on the other side of the lot. Minor inconvenience, sure, but I wanted my spot. It's mine. I told him, flat out, don't park in my space. He just smirked, leaned back against his truck and said, what are you going to do about it? That phrase stuck. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone. That condescending, cocky tone. Like he was daring me to push back, knowing he'd enjoy the fight more than I ever could. At first, I thought maybe he was just kidding around. But no. Within days, he started doing it constantly. Some nights, I'd get home late from work, bone-tired, and find his massive truck squatting in my spot. The guy would be leaning on his balcony with a beer, laughing, guess you'll have to walk a little, bro. It sounds small, right? A parking spot. But every time it happened, it was like a little invasion. My space, my boundary, ignored on purpose. That smug laugh echoing down the lot felt personal. I tried the polite route, knocked on his door, explained again. He'd either shrug me off or mock me. Once he even shouted after me, cry more, Alex, while I parked 3 rows over. I felt like a child being bullied on the playground again, except this time, the bully was a grown man with nothing better to do. It started to get under my skin in ways I didn't expect. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, imagining petty ways to get back at him. Sugar in the gas tank, slashing tires, even just leaving a nasty note. I didn't do any of that. I'm not reckless. But the fact that he made me want to set everything. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday night. I got home around midnight, exhausted after a 12-hour shift. My spot? Taken. By his damn truck again. Tyler was standing out front, shirtless despite the weather, drinking from the bottle this time. He pointed at his truck, then at me, and laughed that same mocking laugh. What are you going to do about it? I remember gripping my steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. And in that moment, something in me snapped. I was done playing nice. That's when I decided I was going to fight back. But not with fists, not with yelling. I was going to hit him where it hurt. His ego. So the very next morning, I called the tow company our complex uses. I didn't warn him, didn't leave a note. I just gave them his license plate, pointed at my spot, and 20 minutes later, his precious truck was getting dragged out of there. I'll never forget the sound of his voice when he realized what happened. He came stomping out in flip-flops and pajama pants, screaming at the tow driver, "That's my spot, bro, my spot." The driver just pointed to the painted number on the asphalt and shrugged. Tyler looked around like he expected people to rally behind him. No one did. Everyone just watched. He had to Uber to the impound lot to get his truck back. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd get the message. He didn't. 2 days later, same thing. I got home from work, and there was his truck, bold as hell in my space. Only this time, he'd left a folding chair in it, like he was reserving it for himself. My blood boiled. I called the tow truck again. By the time Tyler came out, he was red-faced, veins bulging, spitting rage at the driver. He pointed at me across the lot and screamed, "You little bitch! You think you won?" I didn't respond. I just went inside. But inside, my heart was pounding. I'd never had someone openly hate me like that before. I tried to calm myself down, telling myself I was in the right. This was my spot. Still, the way he screamed, the way he glared at me, it stuck. A week later, strike three. He parked there again like he was daring me. This time, he was waiting when the tow truck came. He stood on his balcony, filming it on his phone, yelling, "Look at this! Look at this petty little man getting his neighbor's car towed. Everyone see this!" He tried to make it look like I was harassing him. But here's the thing. I'd been ready for that. Every single time he parked in my spot, I'd snapped photos. His truck, the spot number, the timestamp. I had a whole folder full of them. Dates, times, proof. That folder became my armor, because I knew it wasn't over. After the third tow, he didn't talk to me for a few days. But the silence was worse than the yelling. I could feel him watching me when I came home, see the curtain shift when I walked past his window. I started double-checking my locks, glancing over my shoulder in the parking lot. Then one night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of someone banging on my door. Loud, aggressive, like the cops were about to kick it in. My stomach dropped. I already knew who it was. Tyler. His voice was slurred, but furious. "You think you're smart, Alex? You think you're funny? Come out here like a man." He kept pounding, louder, until I thought the wood might splinter. That's when I realized this wasn't just about a parking spot anymore. He wasn't going to stop. And that folder of photos? That wasn't just my backup plan anymore. That was going to be my weapon. Don't forget to subscribe. I didn't open the door that night. I just stood there in the dark, listening to him rage, holding my phone with 911 already typed in. After a few minutes, his pounding slowed. Then he spit on my door, loud enough I heard it, and staggered away, muttering. The next morning, I walked out to find a long, jagged key scratch running across the entire side of my car. My stomach sank. It wasn't just petty anymore. He was hitting where it hurt. I reported it to the property manager, showed her the photos of his truck in my spot, explained the tows, even told her about the door pounding. She gave me that fake sympathetic look and said, "We'll send a warning letter." A letter. Like Tyler gave a damn about a letter. Sure enough, that evening, I saw him grinning as he ripped the envelope open on his balcony, waving it like a trophy. "You think this scares me, Alex?" he shouted. "You're nothing, nothing." Then he tore the letter up and tossed the pieces into the parking lot. The next few days turned into a game of harassment. He cranked his music so loud my walls vibrated. He'd leave empty beer cans lined up on the hood of my car. One morning, I opened my door and found a pile of cigarette butts on my welcome mat. Always little things, just enough to needle me, but not enough to get him arrested. The other neighbors started noticing too. Mrs. Diaz from across the lot told me she saw him spitting on my windshield. A younger guy, Mark, said he heard Tyler bragging to some buddies. "I'm gonna break him. Watch." That stuck with me. I'm gonna break him. It was clear. This wasn't going to burn out on its own. He wanted me to snap first, so he could play the victim. And as much as I wanted to scream, to fight, to smash his damn truck myself, I knew that's what he was waiting for. So I doubled down on my plan. Every time he crossed the line, I documented it. Photos, videos, timestamps. I built a file thick enough to bury him. But Tyler wasn't satisfied with scratches and noise. He wanted to humiliate me. One night, I came home late and found him waiting in the lot with 3 of his buddies. They were sitting on the hood of his truck, laughing, blocking my space even though it was empty. I pulled up, headlights flashing over them, and Tyler hopped down, swaggering toward my car. He leaned against my hood, hands spread like he owned it. "Not tonight, Alex. Why don't you go park over there with the trash cans?" His buddies erupted in laughter. My blood boiled, but I didn't move. I just raised my phone and snapped a picture. Flash on. Tyler's smirk faltered for a second. "You think your little camera's gonna save you?" he sneered. "You think anyone cares?" But I could see it in his eyes. He cared. That flash rattled him. That's when I knew. The photos weren't just evidence anymore, they were leverage, and soon, I was going to use them. 2 nights later, it all boiled over. I came home around 10 p.m. and saw Tyler's truck parked in my spot again. He was leaning against it, drinking, like he'd been waiting for me. The second I stepped out of my car, he started clapping slow and loud. "There he is, Mr. Tow Truck Hero." His voice carried across the lot, loud enough that lights flicked on in a few windows. I ignored him, walked toward my apartment. That's when he hurled his beer bottle. It shattered on the pavement 2 feet from me, glass spraying. My body jolted. Fight or flight kicked in hard. Come on, Alex, be a man. You like calling your little tow company? Let's see how tough you are without your phone. His face was red, veins bulging, spit flying with every word. Neighbors were peeking through blinds now. I could feel all their eyes, my pulse hammering in my ears. I pulled out my phone anyway, aimed the camera at him and said, "Smile." That set him off. He charged. Not a jog, not a bluff. He full-on sprinted at me. My chest went ice cold. I backed toward my door, fumbling for my keys, but he was fast. He slammed his shoulder into me just as I got the door half open, shoving me hard against the frame. My shoulder exploded in pain. "You think you can embarrass me?" he screamed, inches from my face. His breath reeked of beer. His hand slammed against the door next to my head like he was about to bash it in. I thought that was it, that he was going to throw a punch. But instead, he grinned this wild, manic grin, leaned in close and whispered, "You're done here." Then he spat right on my chest, turned, and staggered back to his truck like he'd won something. I stood frozen in my doorway, shaking so hard my phone nearly slipped from my hand. I'd gotten part of it on video, the charging, the shove, the screaming. But I knew it wasn't enough to have him arrested. He was too careful. Just enough violence to scare me, not enough to put him in cuffs. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the building made me think he was coming back. I sat up with the photos and videos spread across my laptop, every violation lined up neatly. Dates, times, proof. It looked less like a folder now and more like a case file. And I realized that was exactly what it was. Tyler thought he had me cornered, that I was too scared to fight back. But I wasn't going to yell, I wasn't going to swing, I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. I was going to dismantle him piece by piece. I wasn't just documenting anymore. I was preparing for war. Don't forget to subscribe. Update. Holy hell. I didn't expect this to blow up, but thank you for the messages and comments. I read a bunch of them last night when I couldn't sleep, and honestly, it helped. Some of y'all said just move, like it's that easy. Others told me to beat his ass. Tempting, believe me. But the ones who said document, 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 you're the reason I'm not losing my mind right now. Because last night, he snapped. I posted earlier about him yelling and scratching my car, but this time he went further. He waited for me to get home, threw a bottle, shoved me into my own door, and spit on me. I got part of it on video. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. I've replayed the footage a dozen times, and every time I hear his scream, my stomach twists. And here's the kicker. I know exactly what he's doing. He's trying to bait me. If I swing first, if I scream back, suddenly I'm the aggressor. That's why I've kept quiet. Why I've swallowed my pride while neighbors whisper about the weird feud in the parking lot. He wants me to snap so he can play the victim. But here's what he doesn't know. I've been collecting. Every photo, every violation, every ounce of proof. The file is thick now. His truck in my spot, the key scratches, the cans on my hood, timestamps, even his face inches from mine on video. I've got enough to paint the picture clear as day. And I'm not just sitting on it anymore. I sent copies to the property manager, to the HOA board, even emailed them to myself in case he tries to mess with my phone or laptop. I'm covering my bases. Some of you said I should burn his life down in one move. Honestly, that's starting to sound good. Because I'm done playing defense. He crossed the line last night, and now it's my turn. I can't give details yet. Just know I'm not staying quiet anymore. I've got something lined up that's going to flip the script on him completely. Tyler's been laughing. What are you going to do about it? Since the day he moved in. He's about to find out. The next weekend, things blew up in front of the entire complex. Saturday morning, I walked out to leave for work and found Tyler already in my spot, sitting on the hood of his truck like a king on a throne. He had a beer in one hand and his phone in the other, live streaming himself. "There he is," he shouted the second he saw me. "Look, everyone, here comes the tow truck crybaby." He turned his phone toward me, narrating loud enough for the whole lot to hear. This is the guy who calls the cops because he can't handle a real man. I ignored him, got in my car, pulled out my phone, and calmly started snapping photos. His face dropped for half a second before he puffed his chest again. You think your little pictures mean anything? He barked. That's when the tow truck rolled in. I'd called before even walking outside. The driver hopped out, clipped his truck up, and Tyler lost it. He shoved his phone in the driver's face, screaming, "This is harassment! You can't do this!" The driver just pointed at the painted number again. Assigned spot. Rules are rules. By now, half the building was outside watching. Mrs. Diaz, Mark, a couple college kids from upstairs. Tyler was pacing, red-faced, shouting at me. You set this up. You're obsessed with me. You're sick. He actually kicked one of the tow guy's cones across the lot. I didn't say a word. I just pulled out the folder I'd printed. Yes, printed. And walked right up to him. Every page was a different violation. Photos of his truck in my spot, the time-stamped videos, even stills of him spitting on my door. I held them out. You want to play for an audience? I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Here's the highlight reel. He froze. For once, no comeback. His live stream was still going, pointed straight at me, capturing every word. So I flipped through the pages, showing each one to the crowd. This was May 14th. This was the night he scratched my car. Here he is at 2 a.m., pounding on my door. Here's him throwing bottles. Here's him spitting on me. The lot was dead silent except for his live stream comments dinging in the background. People were actually laughing. Not with him, at him. One of his buddies who'd been hanging around muttered, "Dude, what the hell?" and walked off. Tyler's face twisted. He looked around, realizing he wasn't the alpha anymore. The tow truck pulled out with his vehicle and he just stood there shaking, fists clenched, breathing hard. For a second, I thought he was going to swing, but he didn't. He just screamed, this primal, wordless scream, and stormed back into his apartment, slamming the door so hard a picture frame inside fell off the wall. I stood there in the lot, still shaking, but this time not from fear, from adrenaline, from finally flipping the power dynamic. For the first time since this started, I felt like I wasn't the one being hunted. I'd drawn blood. Tyler didn't take the humiliation quietly. The very next night around 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of metal clanging. I rushed to the window and my heart sank. Tyler was in the lot, crouched by my car, a screwdriver in hand. He was jamming it into my tire. Psh! One after another, 4 flat tires in under a minute. I bolted for the door, phone recording. By the time I got outside, he was standing there with the tool still in his hand, grinning like a lunatic. "Take a picture, Alex. Add it to your scrapbook," he screamed. His voice cracked, manic, echoing across the lot. He threw the screwdriver on the ground and spread his arms like he wanted me to hit him. "Come on, be a man, do it." Neighbors were at their windows again. One shouted, "Tyler, what the hell's wrong with you?" But he didn't care. He was locked on me, eyes wide, daring me to swing. I didn't. I just kept filming. His grin twitched when he realized I wasn't taking the bait. He grabbed the screwdriver again, raised it like he might hurl it at me, then at the last second flung it across the pavement and stomped back inside his unit. I was left staring at my car, all 4 tires slashed, rubber shredded, glass shards from my own window where he'd smashed it too. My stomach twisted. He wasn't trying to scare me anymore. He wanted to ruin me. The cops finally got involved that night. I showed them the video. They nodded, promised they'd file a report, told me to talk to my insurance. Tyler stood on his balcony while they were there, smirking, sipping a beer like he was untouchable. The cops left without arresting him. "Civil matter," they said. "Take it up with the landlord." I felt sick. I'd handed them video evidence and they still walked away. Tyler shouted after them, "Told you, he's a liar," before laughing like a maniac. The next morning, I found flyers taped to every door in the building. Tyler had printed out a grainy screenshot of me from his live stream with the words, "Harassment neighbor, calls tow trucks, lies to police, stalks residents." My face. On every damn door. Neighbors started pulling me aside, asking what was going on, some even looking at me like maybe he was right. That stung more than the scratches on my car. I went back to my apartment, ripped one of the flyers off, and just sat staring at it. My own face under his twisted little headline. He thought he was flipping the script. And that's when I decided the file wasn't enough anymore. He wanted public? I'd give him public. The humiliation he felt in the lot? That was just the opening act. Update 2. Okay. So, a lot has happened since my last post, and I need to get this off my chest before I explode. Remember when I said Tyler wouldn't take the humiliation quietly? Yeah, well, he escalated. Hard. He slashed all 4 of my tires. Smashed my driver's side window. I caught the whole thing on video, screwdriver in his hand, him screaming at me to hit him. Cops came, nodded, filed a report, then basically told me to take it up with the landlord. No arrest. Nothing. The man is standing on his balcony while the cops are there, beer in hand, laughing like a goddamn movie villain. And I'm just standing there with my phone, realizing the system isn't going to save me. Next morning, he tapes flyers to every single door in the building. My face, a screenshot from his live stream with the words, "Harassment neighbor, calls tow trucks, lies to police, stalks residents." My neighbor's pulling me aside like, "What's going on, Alex? Are you really harassing him?" I wanted to scream. Some of y'all warned me. He'll drag you down with him if you let him. You were right. He's trying to bait me into a fight, into something that makes me lose everything. But I'm not giving him that satisfaction. Here's the thing, though. Tyler thinks flyers and slashed tires are power moves. But I've been playing a longer game. I've got everything documented. Timestamps, videos, photos, his live stream, witness statements. And after last night, I've started moving it beyond just the landlord and HOA. Let's just say there are people who will care about the kind of evidence I've collected. People outside this apartment complex. And once it's in their hands, Tyler isn't just the guy who parks in the wrong spot. He's the violent, unstable, documented harasser with a trail of proof attached to his name. I'm angry, yeah. But I'm also calm now in a way I haven't been since this started. Cold. Focused. Because I realized something while ripping his damn flyer off my door. He's already destroyed his own reputation. All I have to do is shine a light on it. And that light is coming sooner than he thinks. Tyler wanted to know what I was going to do about it. He's about to find out. For real this time. I didn't wait long. The morning after the flyer stunt, I put my plan in motion. I took my entire file, every photo, every video, every timestamp, plus the video of him slashing my tires, and sent it in one clean package. First to the landlord, then to the HOA board, and finally, the real kicker. I filed a harassment and vandalism complaint with the city, attaching everything. But I wasn't done. Tyler wanted public? Fine. I made it public. I uploaded a short, clean-cut compilation to our complex's community Facebook page. Nothing dramatic, just the facts. Clips of him screaming, shoving me, pounding on my door, slashing my tires. Photos of his truck in my spot. Screenshots of his own live stream where he mocked me. I kept my narration calm and straightforward. This is what I've been dealing with from my neighbor for months. The comments blew up. Neighbors I barely knew started chiming in. I've seen him drunk at 3 a.m. He harassed my wife in the laundry room. He's always leaving trash in the lot. People piled on. Turns out I wasn't the only one he'd been tormenting. Tyler saw it within the hour. I know because he came storming out onto his balcony, phone in hand, screaming, "Delete that! Delete it!" His voice cracked like he was begging and raging at the same time. People were filming him from the lot. For the first time, he looked small. By afternoon, the landlord had posted an official notice on the board by the mailboxes. Any harassment, vandalism, or parking violations will result in eviction. Everyone knew who it was aimed at. And then came the sweetest part. The cops showed up that night. Not for me, for him. They had my file in hand. They talked to a couple neighbors who'd backed me up in writing. I watched from my window as Tyler tried to charm them, then turned red, then finally slammed his door. When the cops left, he didn't come back out. No beer on the balcony. No smirking. Just silence. I thought maybe that was it. that he'd finally crawl back into his hole. But the next morning, there was an eviction notice taped to his door. He ripped it down, crumpled it, and hurled it into the lot. But he couldn't stop it. Word was out. His face was out there. His behavior was documented. And no amount of screaming was going to erase it. Watching him storm across the lot, trying to peel down flyers neighbors had put up mocking him now, that was the first time I actually laughed in months. Tyler wanted a war. He got one. And I just landed the killing blow. The eviction notice gave him 3 days. Day 1, he was quiet. No music, no balcony antics, nothing. Almost like he was hiding. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd take the hit and leave without drama. Day 2, the mask cracked. Around midnight, he started blasting music again, screaming out his window, "This isn't over! You think you won?" He was slamming doors, throwing bottles off his balcony. Cops came again, told him to cut it out, and left. He just laughed in their faces. Day 3 was the grand finale. Movers showed up, not professionals, just a couple buddies with a U-Haul. Tyler was red-eyed, pacing, slamming boxes around. Neighbors gathered outside to watch. It was like the whole building had been waiting for this moment. Then came the meltdown. He stormed out into the lot, pointed straight at me and screamed, "This is your fault, all of it. You ruined my life." His voice cracked, tears in his eyes, spit flying. His buddies tried to calm him down, but he shoved one so hard the guy nearly fell. And then, perfect timing, Mrs. Diaz stepped forward. Sweet old Mrs. Diaz, the one he used to spit insults at, looked him dead in the eye and said, "No, Tyler, you ruined it yourself." The whole crowd nodded. Some even clapped. Tyler froze like the air got sucked out of him. Then he just broke. Threw a box against the truck so hard it burst open, clothes spilling everywhere. He screamed again, wordless this time, grabbed a handful of his own shirts and hurled them across the lot. It was pathetic, and it was over. By sundown, the U-Haul was gone. His balcony was empty. His door was locked and taped by the landlord. The building felt lighter instantly, like a storm had finally passed. The next morning, I walked out to my spot, and just stood there. Empty, waiting for my car. No beer cans, no scratches, no smug laugh from across the lot. Just silence. Neighbors nodded at me, some even patted me on the back. Mark grinned and said, "Guess you won, man." But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. Like finally breathing after months of holding my lungs tight. I still keep the folder. Not because I need it anymore, but as a reminder. That when someone asks, "What are you going to do about it?" Sometimes the best answer isn't fists or screaming. Sometimes it's patience, documentation, and the perfect moment to flip the script. Tyler thought he'd break me. Instead, he broke himself.